Good morning, everybody. Game Time Brian here, otherwise known as the Mailman, doing my early morning video a la Mark Holmes with the coffee. Well, hello, good people. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't do that. Doing my post first preseason game recap. We're going to just talk a little bit about um, things I liked, things I didn't like, and most importantly, injuries. So, you know, I've said before that the most important thing with these preseason games is getting reps for your young guys. I think that happened. Mozzie Smith played a lot more than I thought he would play. He got double teamed, worked through the double team, and was able to get actual penetration, not pause. But not just that, but he was able to um, actually get into the backfield, which everybody says he's a run stuffer, he's a run stuffer. And I was telling Mark in the broadcast, I said, if you look at Mozzie Smith, he's got a little bit of a belly, but everybody tells you in the locker room that the man he's pretty chiseled. He's not Tyron Smith chiseled, but he's just a big boy, strong boy. They were interviewing Hankins last week, and they said, who's the strongest guy? And they said by far Mozzie's just throwing up 325 like it's nothing. Starting out with 325 on the bench. Mozzie's going to be somebody to deal with. Now, Mozzie, he may or may not start, but he's going to be in a rotation with John Hankins, Quentin Bohanna, um, Golston. I mean, it goes on and on. I think Neville Gallimore, as you saw how much that Neville played in the game last night, Neville right now I think is on the outside looking in, barring injury. You know how that works, barring injury. Like Neville has to step it up. Now, there's only two more games. These guys are going to be playing a lot. I'm looking at the roster. I just hope that the Cowboys do the right thing. And we'll get into what I mean by that. But, some of the names that I had said to keep an eye out on. And I said, we'll start with the offensive line. I think that's going to be our most glaring concern. And until Zach Martin gets in the building, until Zach gets in there, I'm not going to stop with Catboy, a.k.a. Stephen Jones. We need Zach Martin. Now, I fully believe that he'll be in the building. I want a happy Zach Martin. I think it could happen. I think it will happen, but I just don't like what we're doing. I know it's a business. I honestly do. But I don't believe that we need to do this with every player. Again, and some of you guys may be tired of hearing it, Zach Martin has more Pro Bowls than penalties in his career. He's steady Eddie. He's always there. The one time he went to right tackle is when he suffered his knee injury. So he needs to stay in guard. I mean, you have to be, not that Zach is not athletic, he is, but it puts more stress on your knees to play tackle. You saw what happened to Terrence Steele, blew out his knee last year. We know Tyron Smith's injuries over the years. So I like Zach at the guard spot, and I don't really want to have to use him at tackle unless it's a dire emergency. But looking at the game last night, we got to see Matt Waletzko, who Primetime Phil, my partner on Primetime Phil, brought to you by Primetime Studios. We live streamed the game last night, so if you haven't seen it, maybe go check it out. We had Mark Holmes in the house. I wanted to see what these backup offensive linemen were going to do. Not the first 5 or 6, but 7, 8, and 9. I believe we'll keep 9. I don't think we're going to keep 10 just based on our needs at other positions. Well, let's go with so-so. You know, I'm glad that he's playing tackle exclusively just because of his size. First game, I think it was good. Last year he got hurt early. He shows flashes of dominating because of his size and his athleticism. He's out of a small school. Um, we need to see more of Matt Waletzko if we think we're going to count on him in meaningful snaps. Now, you know the league. We're going to have to count on him if we suffer injuries. Just remember, not many teams in the NFL, after their top six, have offensive linemen that are unbelievably good. That's just the nature of the position. So the bottom of our roster will be turned over a lot when it comes down to the end of the preseason. When I mean the bottom of the roster, I'm talking 51, 50 through 53, 49 through 53. We may cut guys who are, and we're going to cut guys who get picked up by somebody else. You need to identify and use your scouts and make an educated decision on who you can bring back on the practice squad. And I will get to that. But let's move to Josh Ball. I actually think Josh Ball did pretty good. They're leaving him at guard, which they didn't necessarily think he was going to be a guard because he's 6'8" almost. He's very big for a guard, but he does have some bend. Pause. He does. I'm not a big Josh Ball guy, but I think Josh Ball is going to be competing with, the likes of TJ Bass, Asim Richards, our young guys. Our young guys, it'll be interesting to see. I think we need to keep one of them. I think TJ needs to make, even though he was a free agent, but we threw some money at him out of Oregon. I think he may actually make the roster, and Asim Richards, we may try and get to the practice squad. Either way, they both need to be on the team long term, and I don't want to lose guys a la John Ridgeway last year. We lost a rookie who was with the Commanders, who now he would definitely be in the rotation. I don't know that he would start for us still, but me and Mark Holmes and in prime time loved this some John Ridgeway. It was heartbreaking to see him be released and then picked up. We should have made a smarter decision there. But we need to find out about Josh Ball. Josh Ball needs to play a lot. He just does. Moving on to, I would say, our most versatile backup O-lineman would be Farniok. As of now, he is our backup center, which is very important. As much as Tyler Biotish has stepped up, he's still a bit undersized for me, but with this new offense, it'll probably work out. But Matt Farniok, he had struggled a bit. Only a day, like one day in practice, him and Dak had more than one fumble, and that's an issue. There lies my issue with not at least getting Dak in at some point during the preseason. Just if not, you don't have to get him into a game. I mean, you really don't. But you need to really work in practice the transition from the center and the quarterback because that's big. I just think that we need to be ready to go with a backup center. And Farniok is a guy who can pretty much play every offensive line position. I think he sits in the best position to make this team, as far as being able to snap the ball and back up a lot of guys. So I like our depth there, especially, like I said, with the two young guys, Asim Richards and TJ Bass. I really like our depth outside of the starting five. We need to get Zach Martin in there now. We play Seattle next Sunday in Seattle. It's a late night game out on the West Coast. I think it's a 10 p.m. Eastern start. I know you people out west love it because it's 7 o'clock. It's prime time for you guys. But these guys need to play more. So as the offensive linemen go, you keep your eyes on those three guys. Not counting, you got Farniok, Waletzko, and Josh Ball, T.J. Bass, and Asim Richards. Those guys, there's going to be a battle there. Who's going to be the odd man out? You know, one or two of those guys are not going to make the 53. But staying on the offense, we're going to move out to the wide receivers. And wide receivers were a pleasant surprise. I told you guys not to be down on Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert did not disappoint in any shape, way, or form, however you want to say it. He did not disappoint. Jalen Tolbert had a touchdown. It caught a bad ball by everybody's favorite Cooper Rush. Behind him, who was tipped up, he caught the ball. He's on the team. Not only on the team, he's going to be our number 4. Not only our number 4, he's good. The dude is good. He's always been good. He's struggled everywhere. From high school to college, and then from college to pro in his first year. So that's what I would say is no worries on him. You can see he's playing with confidence. That's what it's about. You have to play with confidence. So going from him to my next guy, who may be the odd man out, but he had a good game last night. He did what he had to do. Simi Fehoko. Simi Fehoko, basically when he got in there, which was not until late in the third quarter, he caught every ball he needed to catch. So he looked good. So we shall see on that. I don't know that we can get Simi to the practice squad. I know we can't get Jalen Tolbert to the practice squad. I think they're both in the same boat. I think the Cowboys would lean towards keeping Tolbert over Simi. But Jalen Brooks, they didn't get much play in, and I think this is the strategy they're going to use. I think Jalen Brooks, number 83, the guy that I have been touting, they're going to try and slide Jalen Brooks to the practice squad. If they lose Jalen Brooks, I'm not going to be happy. I just won't. This kid's ceiling is through the roof. I think Jalen Brooks, you guys aren't going to like me for this, but you remember Jimmy Smith, who Dallas drafted, who ended up having a great career in Jacksonville? I think that's how Jalen Brooks' career is going to go. I don't know that he's going to make the Hall of Fame, or any of that, but his size and his speed, I think he might be faster than, I just think he might be faster than him. So, Jalen Brooks, it'll be interesting to see if they try and hide him still. And we saw Cavante Turpin. Very quick. I love him in the offense, and we'll get to him later because I'm not really thrilled with him at the moment. I wasn't thrilled with him towards the end of pretty much the whole half of last year. But we're going to get to him. We're going to skip over that. We didn't see, just remember, any Eagle fans that are watching this, Cowboy fans, we didn't see any of our offensive linemen. We didn't see our top 3 receivers. Now, the one guy we didn't see Dak. The one guy that we did see was we saw Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson, Mike Aldana, you're a little down on Jake Ferguson. Ultra Cowboy, you're a little down on him. Jake Ferguson is a damn good tight end. As you see, he's put on more muscle, leaned out a little bit. The team, if you watch his sounds of the sidelines, Dallas did like a little over a minute. He's already joking on he's not, he ain't Travis Kelce. I'm not saying that, but the type of relationship that he has with his team, that's how it is. So, Jake Ferguson is going to be our tight end number 1. I did see Luke Schoonmaker briefly. He's coming back from the plantar fasciitis. Listen, Luke's a devastating blocker. He's going to be a red zone threat. He's going to work his way in. He's making the team. But it's going to be a work in progress. in the beginning. You're going to see him be active in certain weeks. We'll see how he does on special teams because you know how that works. Um, but you're going to see him active, and he's going to slowly start making plays. You're going to go, oh, my God, how are you going to cover this guy? Um, so, yes, Jake Ferguson was great. And obviously like to round up the offense, the biggest question mark that I have is who's going to step up after Tony Pollard. And we got our first look at Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn didn't get in until the second half, but if anybody watched the game, Eagles fans would attest to this. I want to hear from Logan Motorsports, Philly D. If you watched anything of the Cowboy game last night, who does Deuce Vaughn remind you of? You know where I'm going with this. Go ahead. I'll wait. Just think about it. Who does he remind you of? Yeah, Darren Sproles. Absolutely. Darren Sproles all day, all night. Average over 6 yards a run. I don't want to hear that he played against a second or third team defense. We had a second or third team offensive line. So that's a moot point. Deuce Vaughn is the real deal. As Mark Combs pointed out, we are not, I repeat, not going to use him as our primary guy. You can't find him behind those offensive linemen. And his burst is incredible. So I'm very, very, very excited about Deuce Vaughn. I'm happy for the kid. After one game, he's everything I wanted and more in him. He will be a great compliment to Tony Pollard. So that brings me to the next fight. I don't think they're both going to be on the team. I can't see how they're both going to be on the team. They could be if we cut Hunter Lepke, but I like Hunter Lepke. Hunter Lepke is going to be a special teams guy, and Hunter Lepke is a big boy who can block, and I think he does that better than either Rico Dowdle or Malik Davis. Now, I don't think you can keep two. Like, we'll see if it shakes out with injury. I like Rico. As much as I would pumping up Malik is steady Eddie. I think Malik you can get on the practice squad. And it's not like he'll be locked into the practice squad, but Rico gives you a burst. And believe it or not, Rico's the biggest out of every back that we have. You don't look it, but if you look at his size and his bulk, and hearing from what I'm hearing, he's the biggest running back that the Cowboys have. Boy, how times have changed. But so it'll be interesting to see whether we keep Malik and Rico and he cut Hunter Lepke to try and sneak him on the practice squad, which I don't think we're going to do that. You keep hearing that Hunter Lepke is the John Kuhn of the Dallas Cowboys. You remember Mike McCarthy had John Kuhn with Green Bay. So that'll be something to watch. These decisions are crucial to shaping our team this year. They need to identify who has a better chance to make the practice squad and who has a chance to be picked up. I told Mark Holmes and Primetime Phil, I said, there might be a situation where you identify 2 or 3 guys and try and flip them for somebody else's guys. At least you get something back in return. Maybe we can get a backup offensive lineman better than somebody you would get via free agency. Because like when you release a guy, it goes by bottom up as far as standing, the waivers. You know what I mean? When you release a guy, you just can't pick up a guy. There's a process. So, very, very excited about our, I shouldn't say running back. I'm excited about Pollard and Deuce Vaughn. Just a lot of interesting things. We hardly saw anybody. We didn't see any starters other than Jake Ferguson on offense, and I thought that it worked half decent. I wasn't happy with Cooper Rush. I wasn't happy with Rico's fumble, but things like that happen. Cooper Rush, everybody touts Cooper Rush. I'm on record as saying I don't think we can keep 3 quarterbacks active. You might want to cut Cooper and see if you can get him on a practice squad. I like Will Greer, and I like his mobility, and I like him on the run. And you might need that if, God forbid, you have injuries on the offensive line. You're going to need a more mobile quarterback. I know Cooper won us some games. I'm not trying to crap on Cooper Rush, but, Will Greer was really banged up last year. So I kind of like Will Greer over Cooper Rush, but either way, we can't keep them both. We're going to have to release one and hope to get them on the practice squad. If they keep all three, that's just going to screw another player that I don't want to lose. So that's the offense. So I would just quickly say stars up from last night's game on the offense was Deuce Vaughn, obviously, Jalen Tolbert. Oh, there's one more guy. I forgot. And Jake Ferguson. Those, I'm going to call them the three J's on offense, But there's another guy, the third J, John Stevens, number 49, converted. Well, he was a converted wide receiver. He's 6'6". John Stevens. He caught a touchdown. He looks scary out there. He's been doing that in practice. And I'm sorry, as much as I like McKeon, our fourth tight end, we need to keep John Stevens on the roster. If you let John Stevens go out on the, if we cut him and try and bring him back on the practice squad, we're going to lose him, and he's going to go on to be a Darren Waller type. I'm sorry. I know that's a big thing to say. John Stevens is that good, and I did not know anything about him. So we're loaded on tight end, people. Please do not let John Stevens get to the street. Like Jalen Brooks, I'd rather get rid of guys like Dennis Houston. I know he had a good second half, but you've been here. I mean, it seems like when the lights are on, you don't shine as much. Let's turn over the roster. But a shout out to John Stevens. Now let's get to the defense. Who I thought shined last night on the defense. And I have just a few names here. Number one, Wanye Thomas. He was my fourth J. Wanye Thomas, I don't know how he was going to make the team, but he's making a point to make the team. It'll be interesting to see when we go do our final 53. Wanye Thomas, who's up against Marquise Bell, the local kid from Vineland, New Jersey. I like Marquise, but Marquise, to me, didn't look that great last night. He gave it too much space, but Wanye picked off the first ball thrown of the night against their ones. So, and he plays special teams, so I don't know. After one game, Wanye's star up, Marquise Bell down. Now, Marquise played a lot. Marquise is raw. I love Marquise. I hope he makes the team, but maybe we can get him on the practice squad. But just being down the road from the Eagles, 30 minutes from the NovaCare, I guarantee you that if he hits the street, the Eagles will pick him up as their safety, as one of their safeties. Eagles safeties are below average, in my opinion. And to bring in a local kid, Marquise Bell, literally 20 minutes down the street, we're in a tough spot here because we have a very deep safety room, and that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. I'm not a big Coyle guy. I think Tyler Coyle could be a guy that we can get on the practice squad. But Wanye's been making plays in training camp, and he made the first play of the night on the first play, or the first or second play of the game, the first pass with an interception. So, Wanye Thomas. Now, this next guy, DeMarvion Overshown, he's, along with Deuce Vaughn, I don't know that Deuce Vaughn is going to keep number 42. He's saying that the number is getting, starting to look good to him. I don't have a problem with him at 42, but DeMarvion Overshown, before the game, they showed it. Now, he was in the center of the huddle already leading the team in pregame. You know how you see, DeMarcus Lawrence, or you'll see Dak Prescott. These guys were, he was in the middle of it, and he was going nuts, and they were going nuts, and he was all over the field last night. DeMarvion Overshown needs to be Agent Zero. I don't like that number 35 number at all. Just looks weird to me. It's not, he needs to be number 0. And the reason why that Micah didn't want him to go to 0, or Javon Curse didn't want to go to 0, because if you're an existing player, you got to buy up all your old jerseys that are still out there that haven't been sold yet. So, I want to see Overshown in 0, but he was all over the field last night. Special teams guy, I think he can play special teams. I don't know that he played special teams last night, but we see that there's a place for him on the Cowboys. When the Cowboys drafted Overshown, we're like, oh, well, where's he going to play? I think we know where he's going to play. So, Damone Clark had 3 of the first 4 tackles of the game. Damone Clark played on instinct last year. He's coming back from the neck fusion. Damone Clark, arrow is way up. Damone and Leighton Vander Esch. Micah Parsons going to play more edge. You got Overshown. And this next guy, who I thought, he didn't get in until late, but when he got in, you could tell he's a different player, Jabril Cox. It'll be interesting to see between Jabril Cox, Devin Harper, Malik Jefferson, who they used to be high on. It's not about who's better at this point. Between Harper and Jefferson and Jabril, it's who are you going to get on your practice squad? That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be who may play more. It's going to be who plays special teams and who's going to make it to your practice squad if you release them. But these are good problems to have, people, but we have them. It's going to be, it's going to be interesting as we get down to the wire. Stars down in no particular order. There's not many. Ball security starts with this guy. I was a big fan when he came from the USFL, but Cavante Turpin. I'm excited about what he can do on our offense. But all of a sudden, when you look into last year and you look into this year, I don't like what I see as far as Cavante Turpin. His ball security stinks. He fumbled yet again on a return. Is he going to be that good on offense? I'm not here to try and cut Cavante Turpin, but maybe his stock is high now. Maybe you can flip him from somebody. You know what? I thought about it. I heard he's on the market. Give me Cordero Patterson on this team. If we're really ready to win now, give me Cordero Patterson. He's a jack of all trades. He's one of the best returners in the league. I know you guys are like, wow, you're giving up on him already. I don't want to see our guy fumble. Now, I don't think they're going to do this. I'm just saying, if we're ready to win now, we can't have this. We can't have a Turpin who's supposed to be or a Pro Bowler or somebody going to like him. Maybe his stock's high. I don't know. I know it's going to be exciting, but we have a lot of offensive weapons. We don't need him. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid he's going to break our hearts, people. I know that's a negative thing to say, but it is what it is. But, the game in total, it's not so much about winning or losing in the preseason. It really isn't. I could care less if we win or lose. To me, it's about getting young guys in reps before the season and staying healthy. And it appears that we've dodged bullets, and we indeed stayed healthy. We got much-needed reps for our young guys. Now, for my Eagle fans that are watching this, it's not good news for your linebacker. It's not good. Sean Bradley. He's entering his 4th year out of Temple, local school. Looks like a devastating injury. This is what I was warning everybody as Cowboy fans you don't want to see. Now, he was in his final year. That's why I feel bad for this guy, because looks like he's going to be lost for the year with a lower leg injury. He was carted off. He was in a lot of pain. You saw Nick Sirianni run right out there. This is what I don't want to see for the Eagles or anybody. I do not want to see these type of injuries, especially to a local kid who is going into his final year, was going to get a contract, you know, either with the Eagles or with somebody else. He was their best special teamer, or one of their best. I'm not going to say their best, but he was one of their best, and he was going to make the team based on the special teams alone. Eagles are already thin a linebacker. They went out and got Miles Jack, who not what he once was. He's okay. He can make tackles if he has a good line in front of him, which this is Miles Jack. This is the best possible scenario for him because he does have some big boys up front. So he should be okay, Miles Jack. He's not a Pro Bowler, but a shout out to Sean Bradley. I hope that early the predictions on his injury are wrong and he can come back this year, but that's what I was afraid of. Unfortunately, this game is unforgiven. It sucks. It really does. I hope we have 2 more games left. I hope that we could dodge that. You know, we're not going to totally dodge it. Last year, even though we went 12-5, us Cowboy fans understand how bad it really was with injuries. We lost Terrence Steele for the year. We lost Tyron before game 1 for most of the year. We lost Dak Prescott for 5 games, came back, had a screw in his throwing hand. You know, everybody shits on Dak, but come on, man. The guy played with a screw in his hand. You know, it was ridiculous. You know, we lost Zeke Elliott. I mean, it goes on and on. We had Michael Gallup that was coming back from knee surgery, that the second time that same knee was torn, the ACL. He was not there. He was not ready. It was CeeDee Lamb and a bunch of average guys to below average. And I'm not trying to be mean, but that's a fact. And we still won 12 games. The defense, we had our share of injuries as well. But it is what it is. But just real quick, I want to give a shout out to Mark Holmes. He keeps like pumping me up, and I've been doing a lot of lives, so I'm over the 500 mark, which means this Saturday night, I'm going to stream it. I'm going to do a stream. I'm going to mirror the stream on this channel. I keep saying that, but I don't know. We'll see. But me and my partner, Primetime Phil, are doing the Packy Chip Challenge Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to burn because Mark Holmes has been wanting us to burn. We are definitely going to burn Saturday night. And as soon as we get either me or Primetime, or the goal is to get, let me switch the camera for you. The goal is to get Primetime Phil to 1,000, and we will do the little nitro that's sitting over there. Yeah, so that's the goal. Once we get to 1,000 subs on Primetime Phil, I'm right on his tail. So it'd be cool if we were hit the 1,000 on the same night. That would be great. But regardless, once Phil gets to 1,000, we will do the little nitro. But yes, join us. Now, I'll be doing shows all week. I might even do a live stream later today. We will see. I'll definitely do one Tuesday night with my guy, Loyal Cowboy. He's going to start joining me on some live streams just to talk Cowboys, because you can never talk too much Cowboys this time of year. Very excited about the season. I'm hoping, I'm thinking, I'm praying that it's going to be good. So with that being said, this is Game Time Brian, otherwise known as the Mailman. I am out. I will see you guys later today on Mark Holmes's, I believe it's a 5 o'clock live stream. So you can check me out there. I will talk to everybody later. Bye.